All right, Kristen, thank you. Minute past the hour now. We're going to begin with some overnight news. Things are returning to normal this morning after several people were forced from their homes in northeast Albuquerque after a gas leak. Turn to a live look right now. Much quieter scene right there as we take this live picture. You can see the damage caused. APD says the crash happened when somebody went into a senior care facility, hit a senior care facility near San Mateo and Copper. Video just into the newsroom shows that active scene just hours ago. Police say that truck also hit a gas meter. That caused the leak. The area was blocked off as people in the area were evacuated. Those roads have since reopened. No word on what led to the crash, but right now police are telling us there are no injuries. 5 residents are displaced. They were provided hotels by the Red Cross. We'll continue to stay on top of the very latest and update you on the KRQE News app as developments come in. With nearly 2 more months until construction at I-40 in Coors is finished up, authorities there are saying that they're seeing more and more crashes, and that's prompting the construction company in charge to take action. They've now hired the state police to camp out in hopes of slowing down drivers and to respond to crashes more quickly. With about 150,000 cars passing through that construction zone, police say they respond on average to about 4 crashes a day between the hours of 6 and 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. to 7 at night.
You got people trying to get on the other side of the highway, people on that side of the highway trying to get this way, all at rush hour. It's crazy.
And they say so crazy, the officers hand out about 10 aggressive driving tickets during those hours too. State police say they charge the company who's flipping the bill about $60 an hour for their services. A former cop and school district official arrested on a felony charge now says she deserves an apology, and she's suing state police. Beverly Rodriguez says after 30 years in law enforcement with that kind of experience, she found herself on the other side of the law 3 years ago. State police arrested her for stealing what they say were wheelchair ramps from the Cuba School District while working there as the head of transportation. She claims she bought the ramps legally. She says that a grand jury did not indict her, but the felony arrest is still on her record. Now she's suing, saying she shouldn't have been arrested in the first place.
I had been a police officer for 34 years. I know what probable cause is. There was no probable cause.
State police says it takes allegations of misconduct seriously, and it does plan to vigorously contest the claims made in the suit. You can take a look at the full lawsuit right now on the KRQE News app. 6:04 right now and happening this morning. 17 Republican presidential contenders are pressing ahead with their campaigns. This comes after all of them squared off in the first round of debates this season. Overall, each candidate in the top tier that was televised last night, analysts say they seem to do well. Jeb Bush drew in some cheers with his take on education. All eyes, though, were on Donald Trump when the topic of immigration came up. He remained silent while other contenders weighed in. The one name being tossed around all night long was Democratic candidate Hillary Clinton.
We spend a lot of time talking about Hillary Clinton and pitting us back and forth. Let's be clear, we should be talking about Hillary Clinton on that last subject, because everywhere in the world that Hillary Clinton touched is more messed up today than before she and the president.
We have many questions.
During that debate, Trump said that he would not rule out running as a third-party candidate. Before the primetime debate, the 7 lower-tier GOP candidates, including Rick Perry and Rick Santorum, also Bobby Jindal, participated in what they called a happy hour debate, which piqued social media interest in former Hewlett-Packard CEO Carly Fiorina. The only woman running on the Republican side, pundits say she could now be the one to watch. Happening today, jury deliberations are expected to resume in the death penalty phase of Colorado movie theater gunman James Holmes. After weeks of both sides arguing for the death penalty or against it, jurors must decide whether Holmes will get life or death for killing 12 people in that 2012 massacre. And new this morning, police in Espanola are searching for a man in connection with a car crash that left an Albuquerque woman dead. Police say 35-year-old Jeannie Gutierrez died after crashing her car into another vehicle as she attempted to flee from a man who was shooting at her. That's according to the Santa Fe New Mexican. Police say it all started as an argument outside Walmart when they say somebody pulled out a gun and started shooting at Gutierrez's car. According to the police report, police want to speak with according to the report, I should say, police want to speak with 26-year-old Jose Rodriguez as a person of interest. So far, no arrests have been made in this case. Time now is 6:06, and happening in just a few weeks, the trial for an Albuquerque woman charged with killing her husband. Amy Herrera is facing second-degree murder and manslaughter charges. The judge recently ruled that prosecutors cannot introduce evidence that she told someone that she, quote, wished she could kill him again. Police say in 2012, Amy shot and killed her husband, an Air Force major. She claims he put the gun in his own mouth, made her pull the trigger. The trial is set for August 17th. Developing on this Friday morning, we could learn more about the deaths of 2 tourists found at the White Sands National Monument. Park rangers discovered the bodies of a man and a woman Tuesday afternoon about 1.5 miles from the trailhead. A boy was found alive with them. Rangers say they were visiting from France and believe that they died of heat exposure. Temperatures were over 100 degrees that day. The boy's condition has not been released. Does any of this jewelry belong to you? Santa Fe police say all of it was sold to a Los Lunas pawn shop, along with other jewelry that was stolen from a self-storage facility in Santa Fe. They believe these pieces were stolen in late June or early July. Police say they are trying to determine if the same burglar is behind both cases. If any of this jewelry is yours, you're asked to call Santa Fe police. There are new facts this morning on a controversial topic of giving children a timeout. It's commonly used. New research suggests that it may be the best way to deal with defiant children. New research from Oklahoma State University suggests assertive tactics such as timeouts work best for children who hit or are defiant. Psychologists, I should say, boy, it's a tough word to say, found reasoning was the most effective way to deal with children who don't listen or whine. Researchers suggest for best long-term behavior improvements, keep offering compromises. Now developing right now, SeaWorld still can't seem to bounce back from bad publicity surrounding the 2013 documentary Blackfish. That was critical of how the park treated its killer whales. Attendance is still falling, and SeaWorld has been spending more money on marketing now. And finally, new video this morning shows a passenger attacking another while waiting to unboard or deplane a United Airlines plane. Cell phone video captures the tense moments and the takedown. The plane was bound from Chicago to Las Vegas. Authorities say the man standing refused to turn off his cell phone, so the captain returned to the gate. But before he could deplane, a fellow passenger made a remark, sparking the man to swing at him. Authorities wrestled him to the ground. Police say during the scuffle, the man also punched an officer, and he now faces charges of battery and resisting arrest. Thanks, Kristen. Happening later today, the 2 youngest teens charged in the shooting death of a longtime Albuquerque bartender are expected to be in court. Matthew Baldonado and Enrique Palomino will be officially arraigned, and that means that a judge will read their charges. Those boys, both 14, are charged in the killing of Stephen Garrick after police say he confronted their group about breaking into cars. 4 other boys ranging in age from 17 to 15 are also accused in the killing. Baldonado and Palomino will be the only ones, though, charged as juveniles. They're both in jail on bonds of $250,000 cash only. Also happening this morning, the defense will continue to call witnesses in day 5 of the preliminary hearing for 2 Albuquerque officers who shot and killed James Boyd. Attorneys for Officer Dominique Perez and now retired Detective Keith Sandy presented their case to the judge during day 4. It'll be up to that judge to decide whether the 2 will face a trial on charges for killing James Boyd. The defense brought in Ronald McCarthy, who's an ex-LAPD officer, and he also wrote a book on training officers. McCarthy told the court the officers who shot Boyd acted reasonably, and he said negotiations and less lethal tactics were not working, and Boyd was still armed with knives.
He did not exhibit those actions that police officers are trained to recognize would indicate surrender.
But special prosecutors for the state pointed out McCarthy is often paid to testify in court for police.
And you told us that about 99% of the time you testify for the police officer in a case, don't you?
Yes, sir.
That hearing will continue this morning. We will be there. You can follow along with our live stream on our website, KRQE.com, and on the news app. 6:33, new overnight on this Friday. At least 5 residents in northeast Albuquerque are displaced after a car crash that caused a gas leak early this morning. It happened just a little after 2 a.m. near Copper and San Mateo. Police tell us the driver drove into the senior living center, but before crashing into the building, they also hit a gas meter that eventually sparked the leak. Police and NM Gas were quickly called to the area. Residents were quickly evacuated. There were no injuries, but our crews did see quite a bit of damage there.
The next step is the building owner is going to have to make the necessary repairs to the structure before he can occupy this building again.
Red Cross of New Mexico was called in to help those people who were displaced, and officers are still trying to figure out how all of that happened in the first place. News 13 is following up today, asking questions as to why there wasn't any police lapel camera video from the shooting that led to a SWAT situation last month. Albuquerque police say 21-year-old Justin Brule shot at them, caused a crash, then ran into a home, taking that homeowner hostage. But there wasn't any video of the alleged shooting or the arrest. Police say Brule immediately shot at the officer and took off before the officer even approached him. APD also says they did not release the video of the arrest to the public because they don't want to disclose tactical secrets. Brule is pleading not guilty to federal carjacking and vehicle theft charges. Police in Las Cruces are still investigating a suspicious package that closed the Mesilla Valley Mall there last night. The Las Cruces Sun News is reporting that a man wearing a wig and beard like Santa Claus left a package outside Barnes & Noble. The device was 12 inches long and wrapped in duct tape with a note attached to it. Police say they have determined that it is not a danger to the public. This comes, though, less than a week after 2 bombs went off at different churches in Las Cruces. No one was hurt in those cases, and there's no word this early hour on if the 3 incidents are connected. Time at 6:35. A shooting involving a federal officer and a man in downtown Albuquerque is under investigation today. Homeland Security says 2 Federal Protective Service officers were patrolling the new Social Security building around 5:30 on Thursday morning when a man fired at them. At least one of the agents fired back. Nobody was hit. Suspect was arrested. Detectives did find a weapon on the scene. A witness who lives nearby says he heard about 10 shots ring out.
Well, I figure it's probably somebody got shot or got killed. I mean, if you hear the bullets, I mean, I'm not going to come and see what went on, you know. I just went back inside the house.
The FBI is now investigating. They have not released any additional details on what happened there. It's been credited for attracting more visitors to our state than ever before. New Mexico True. State leaders say a boost in their advertising budget played a big role. But not all parts of New Mexico are seeing the same success, and they don't all have the funds to spend. It's why business owners in one county are partnering with the state to make sure that visitors know they too are New Mexico True. News 13's Catherine Mazzone has that story.
Businessman Garth Bascom is eager to learn. He owns a bed and breakfast in Sandoval County's small town of La Cueva and wants to spread the word.
A lot of the guests that we have that stay with us show up and say, we never knew this was here.
But it's not just about his business.
We're New Mexico True.
Bascom wants more people to know about all Sandoval has to offer.
People being aware and being able to participate in what's going on up here.
Bascom's hoping the state can show him and fellow business owners how to do it. It's why Sandoval invited New Mexico's Cabinet Secretary of Tourism to offer tips to locals on how to better tap into the state's thriving industry.
When we talk about the advertising we do, we also say to people, if you have the ability to make an emotional connection, that ad is going to go so much farther.
Already, Sandoval County has the greatest representation in the state's national New Mexico True campaign. But tourists have no way of knowing that.
People see something like the Valles Caldera, and then that is something, a beautiful, green, lush area that really could be anywhere.
It's one reason why representatives with one of the area's biggest tourist destinations wants to partner with New Mexico True.
We don't have the funds to really get our name out there locally, regionally, and nationally. And partnering with this campaign, we're not only advertising the Valles Caldera, but we're also getting the whole region involved.
Valles Caldera's Rob Dixon says by being an anchor for the region, they can help draw visitors to other businesses and help benefit the county's economy as a whole. It's something residents like Bascom say Sandoval needs.
I think the area could use a little help with more jobs, and tourism can definitely provide some of that.
Catherine Mazzone, KRQE News 13.
Bascom also adds that he's seen a big increase in his business since the New Mexico True campaign was rolled out. In fact, he says he this year broke all of his previous income records. If you'd like more information about the New Mexico True brand, visit our website, krqe.com. Alabama became the 3rd state in a week to pull state funding for Planned Parenthood. The governor's office released a statement on Thursday saying the Alabama Medicaid agency will end its provider contract with the group with a 15-day notice. If Planned Parenthood opposes the decision, the nonprofit has 60 days to apply for a fair hearing. The move comes in the wake of several sting videos that an anti-abortion group claims show Planned Parenthood officials discussing the sale of fetal tissue. Planned Parenthood officials deny breaking any laws, and they accuse the group of heavily editing those videos. New this morning, Bill Cosby will be forced to answer some questions about allegations of sexual assault in sworn testimony October 9th. The court ordered Cosby's deposition as part of a civil lawsuit from a woman who accuses the comedian of molesting her when she was a 15-year-old at the Playboy Mansion in the 1970s. Cosby's lawyers are denying all assault allegations. Listen to this, a fight over tips turned kind of physical for two men in Times Square. So the man dressed as Spider-Man says he does this for a living. He works off tips from tourists. He takes photos, he does stunts to earn the money. But the man that he's fighting with heckled him apparently with a sign telling people they didn't have to tip him. The other man dressed in street clothes says Spider-Man was harassing tourists, saying they had to tip him, and that's when things turned physical. It eventually ended, though, without anyone being arrested or charged. Both men say they just plan to stay out there. Sure created quite the spectacle. Cell phone video there.